right. Hello and welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy T.
Hey, Steph. How you doing?
Good. How you been?
Good. It's finally summer here.
Yes, it's summer and we had rain last night and we have crazy wind today, but it's sunny and gorgeous and I'm happy with it. And yeah,
And you look like you're in a Whitesnake video.
Yes. Tawny Kitten.
Yeah, there we go.
She just needs to be on a hood of a car.
Exactly. There we go.
Get that girl a Camaro.
Yeah.
Get that girl a Camaro.
I love that. Yes. And then I'm very happy because I don't know, my inner, I feel like I should be a small young person listening to this music, but at the same time, it's totally our style. Youngblood, he is this young rocker dude from England. He's awesome, and he has a very classic-y rock style to him, and little punky-ish. And his new album dropped, and I was listening to it this morning, so I'm feeling happy and. You know, it's one of those, like, he designed it like you're supposed to listen to from the beginning to the end. And I was like, young people still do that? Because, like, that's very old school our style. Like, because young people don't listen to whole albums anymore. And they just listen to the songs they know they like. And I think it's wicked cool that he purposely was like, please listen to it from beginning to end.
I love that. Right?
Yes.
Do you guys remember going to the store and getting the cassette tape?
Oh my God. Right? It was so fun.
And listening from top to bottom.
And reading the notes inside.
Yes.
Like
always reading the lyrics.
Always.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I were just talking about like the Columbia House where you paid like a penny and then you got like 12 cassettes.
Yes.
And then I pick all my favorites, so I have to pick some like random thing to like round it out. Like, okay, I don't have any more I want, so I just pick something random to listen to. And of course, I never paid the balance when it came in, so I probably owe them tons of money.
Yeah. You and everyone else who did it.
Oh my God! And then you couldn't get out of the stupid contract or whatever, and they just kept sending you stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God! I remember one of my friends did that, and I was just like, "Oh, my mother would never allow that."
Mom didn't have to know, did she?
Yeah, mine didn't.
No,
right?
She didn't, but that's Gen hilarious. X. Yeah,
You're pretty feral.
One of my most stunning things that I thought was interesting is you don't realize how much younger somebody is except for the millennial Gen X line. Yeah. Where they're only a few years younger than you, but they really don't remember the same things, or they didn't live life the same way because they did have a cell phone attached to them pretty much all along, and internet and all the things. And so like some younger friends of mine, we were talking, they went to see the Green Day musical.
There's a musical?
Yeah,
heard about that.
Yeah, what? It's I forget what album it is, but it's one of the American Idiot. Is American Idiot?
Yeah.
So it's basically the American Idiot album, which tells a story from front to back if you listen to it from front to back. And then they just made it into a play, and he did not realize until he watched the play that the album told the story. And I was like, that was a good 10 years after the album. What?
How did you not know that?
And he's like, I only listened to the songs I liked. I was like, oh
God.
Yeah, it was I like, even just listening to the songs on the radio, you could figure it out.
Right.
What?
Yeah. Oh, Green Day. Yes.
But
that's awesome.
Sorry, that was my tangent for the day, is listening to music from front to back, apparently. Very important. I'm with you on that. Because it's telling a story, right, Wendy?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Music's my jam.
Yeah, it is. Well, obviously, disco balls, hello.
She's a party in and of herself. People
yes,
love
she
her.
Is.
If it's not fun, I really don't want to do it.
Right?
That's right.
Exactly.
No yucky work. Thank you very much.
No.
I'm with you on that.
So, Miss Wendy, did you pull a oracle card today?
Yep.
I did.
My angels told me to. Oh, wait, which one? Which
Yeah,
Wendy?
this is-
I know
gonna
this
get.
is going to be trouble, isn't
This is
it?
going to get confusing.
Wendy squared. I love it.
Wendy squared. I will take Wendy Taducci first and then Wendy B.
Okay.
I'll take Wendy T for 100.
Exactly.
What show was that?
Jeopardy.
I don't remember.
Jeopardy.
Was it Jeopardy? Okay, good. So my angels guided me to my archangels deck this morning. I was like, all right. And they guided me to this card. Daniel.
Ooh, Daniel.
Never Danny boy. Yeah, I've never pulled Daniel. Now I'm gonna call him Danny. Before divine discernment. Trust in the messages within. They are divinely guided. And I have been feeling that lately. So what this says is Daniel is mentioned in the book of Enoch as an angel who watches over 200 other angels. Like Uriel, Uriel, am I saying that
You
right?
said it right, I think.
Go with it. He is associated with the energies of light, fire, and the sun. His name means God is my judge, and he is therefore dedicated to helping us align our life with justice and truth. With the help of this powerful angel, we can use discernment with regard to challenges and decisions. Discernment is a deep inner knowing of the answer or next step when it comes to a life decision. Call on Daniel to help you make the best decision for the pathway ahead.
Ooh, I love
like
that.
Danny boy.
Danny boy.
Danny
All right.
boy.
Wendy B.
All right, let's see what mine is. Now, this deck, I've never done Oracle cards before. These are from Tracy Meyer. She's a one-story speaker, so she gave it to me as a gift. And these are all pictures of her adventures. She has a whole
Can we
deck of
see?
pictures.
Cool.
Like one of the,
Let's see.
so is that the back or the?
This is, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this whole deck is pictures that she's taken out all of her adventures. She's done so much. It's wild.
Cool.
So this says, adventurous. You are seeking a way to feel alive and powerful. Go forth.
Nice.
That's what it says, yeah.
I love that.
Gosh.
Mhm.
So Steph,
Yes.
side note,
Yes.
when you said Wendy B, I perked up because my last name, my maiden name was Blendeman.
Oh,
So I'm like,
see?
wait, no, I already went.
That's
Just call
funny.
It's hilarious.
Wendy Confused. That's who I will
Wendy
be on this.
Confused.
Wendy
I might answer to that too, though. Honestly, I feel that way most days.
Good luck, Steph.
Right?
Herding cats today, aren't I?
Yep.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Today I got nurture. So maybe that's the message today too.
You're gonna have to nurture us.
I'm gonna have to nurture you guys. And it's Gabriel again. Archangel Gabriel.
Of course.
As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. One reason why it's important for you to help children is because you're also helping your own inner child in the process. You're teaching what you need to learn. So pay particular attention to those messages you deliver to children and their parents. Know that those messages are for you as well. Take time to play, laugh, and be silly and carefree. Nurture your inner child with as much love and attention as possible. Working with Archangel Gabriel, Gabriel works with mothers and children during all phases of conception, childbirth, adoption, and parenting. They help grown-up children as well. If your heart longs for some playtime, call upon Gabriel to make all of the arrangements. They'll guide you along as you nurture your inner child. If you ask, Gabriel will also assist you in your own parenting desires and needs.
So he'll set up a play date.
He'll set
That's
up a
what I'm
play
hearing.
date and
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
guide me this summer as we head into summer vacation with a small child.
Your own Gabriel.
My own Gabriel. Yes.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. So, hey, everybody, got a question for you. Have you ever felt like you don't deserve to put the oxygen mask on yourself first because you don't feel worthy to take care of yourself? I'm here to tell you from personal experience that as a result of that, you're probably experiencing burnout if you are not already, because that's for sure what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a solution for you, and it's really easy and it's fun and it's actually kind of beautiful. I created this journal for you. And so this journal is your self-care sanctuary, right? And inside, I've got some journaling prompts. Actually, I've got 30 days of journaling prompts. So you get in there and it's not like, I don't know what to write. You're directed, right, to write. And then I also give you some blank pages so that when you feel like getting something off your chest, out of your head, you can just get in there and be in the flow and do that. But one of the journaling prompts is about releasing guilt, right? Because who doesn't have some kind of guilt, right? I do from time to time. And so this is just a way to guide you through all of these prompts. And after 30 days, you're going to have peace of mind. So head to the website, which is coach-wendy.com/journal. Write your name, type your name, good grief, type your name, your email address, hit download now, and you get this immediately. You can start today. And so remember, this is for you. This is for your peace of mind. coach-wendy.com/journal. I should introduce Wendy B. Not me, not the former. Okay, well, it is our pleasure to introduce to the Smiling Souls podcast, Wendy Babcock. Wendy is an international and TEDx speaker, author and speaking and storytelling specialist. With 8 years of speaking experience, she helps entrepreneurs connect their personal stories to their business in a way that builds trust, credibility, and visibility. As the creator of When Stories, Wendy blends a TEDx-style stage, a published book, and a podcast to elevate voices and amplify impact. Her signature process helps speakers craft stories that not only inspire, but also attract aligned clients and open doors to new opportunities. Wendy's mission is to illuminate powerful stories and empower heart-led leaders to share them with confidence and purpose. So welcome to Smiling Souls, Wendy Babcock.
Thank you so much. I'm just excited to sit here and have a great conversation with the both of you.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
We're off to a great start already with,
Right.
I was going to say 8 tracks. That's dating us. I don't know 8 tracks because that
Albums.
tapes and albums and Gabriel, and he's going to set up a play date and all the things. So sorry, Steph, go ahead.
It's okay. So you are an awesome speaker. You're an awesome person who helps people craft their stories as well. What got you into that?
Oh gosh. So I like to say it was kind of a fluke. I even got into speaking to begin with. I worked at a hospital full time for about 20 years and I did medical coding. I did medical transcription, but then they outsourced that. So I got into coding. And if you know medical coding, it's all numbers, right? Well, I have an ADHD brain. So I need to have something running in the background while I work. And some people that doesn't make sense too with numbers, but I would listen to audiobooks, like self-help type of audiobooks. And in this book, the author was Pam Grout. It was called E Squared. She talked about this movement called The Complaint-Free World by Will Bowen. And I stopped the Audible while I was working, and on the clock, I was looking up this movement because I was just, I don't know, I was drawn to it. I thought I was trying to really better my life and do more positive things. And I thought, well, what's more negative that we do that complains? So Complaint-Free World just spoke to me. And on that day, I went to Facebook, looked at Will's profile to see who he was, and he was offering to train 10 people to share his message on stages. And he was doing it for free at the time because he had never trained speakers before. And he'd been doing this since 2006. I mean, he'd been on Oprah, he'd been in People magazine, like he's creating this movement, but hardly anyone even heard of him. And so I still don't know why I signed up, to be honest. I wasn't a speaker. I had no aspirations to be a speaker. I think part of it was the safety of like, they're not going to pick me. Like, I'm just, I'm just me in little rural Wisconsin, like, pff, you know. And then I got picked, and I was like, oh crap, now what? Right?
Isn't that great how that happens?
Yeah. And so I felt like low man on the totem pole because everyone who had applied had some kind of speaking experience. And so I felt like I had to try extra hard to really pay attention. And I don't know if Will knew it then, but he gave me an entire career basically in a box because I had the topic. I had the framework to teach it. He gave us all the know-how, how to look for gigs, how to book gigs, contracts, literally A to Z he gave us. So I could not have had a better mentor. And then I tried to hit the ground running, but of course I was working full time. So it was hard to get the gigs. And then unfortunately, my father passed away that year in August. And nothing like death to make you feel like, you know what, life's too freaking short, man. Like,
Right.
yeah. So my husband and I had a conversation around it, and I ended up quitting my job. And I just hit the ground running. And it was a roller coaster, right? I mean, it was not like, oh, I got booked on every stage right away. No, it did not happen. Yeah, it was a roller coaster. And then 2020 hit, and most of my speaking gigs went away. No. And then by 2021, I decided I was going to start coaching. And that's what kind of opened the doors into realizing that storytelling was my thing. So, side note, I've been a songwriter most of my life, and I didn't share that until more recently, just because it is a roller coaster type of thing. I just made a post about this yesterday because you get so close to having a song maybe picked up by an artist, and then it doesn't make the cut, right? Then somebody else, hangs on to it, and then they don't record it. So it's just high low. And if you have people asking you, "Oh my God, did so and so record your song?" You're like, "No, they passed." It just adds to the disappointment when that happens. So I just kind of stopped talking about it. And songwriting is just storytelling. That's literally all it is, right? It's just storytelling. And as I started to get coaching clients, I loved working in the process of building their signature talks. And where they were struggling was adding stories to showcase like what they were trying to teach. I get a lot of type of coaches that they can walk you through a process, but ask them to tell a story. They're like, wait, what? Like record scratch, like a story? What?
Yes.
Give you all the statistics. I'm like, no. We need to work with story. So anyhow, sorry, it's a long story, but I just kind of put two and two together. I'm like, yeah, I can teach people how to get paid to speak and all the strategy, but what I love to do, what lights me up is the stories. And I figured out I'm great at creating hooks because I write songs. Right. So I can hear a story and I can tell you how that ties into your business. So I so now I can teach what I do. So Stephanie got to hear this yesterday when I walked everybody through like, okay.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was
like,
so brilliant.
Tell a story and now everyone can do it.
Yeah.
This is not just the only me thing. I just can now teach you how to hear what a person's about and what they do within the most random stories that have nothing to do with their business. So that's what I teach.
So
and yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like just blown away. First of all, Wendy, that you got the hit, you got the nudge to stop your work with the coding and go look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to apply. I'm not going to get it. Oh crap. I got picked. Here you are on stages, right? Never thought you'd be doing this. And then another door opens into coaching.
Yeah.
I love that big picture view of how you got to where you were at today. That's so freaking amazing because you listened to your intuition, inner guidance, angels, whatever it was.
Right.
And now you're here. One thing. And another thing, Stephanie told me her story that came as a result of yesterday, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, well, dang, that's freaking amazing. I loved your story. I loved it. And I loved how you tied it back into your work. And so my thought was, how the hell am I going to come up with a story? I don't have any stories. I think, is that like a common thing, Wendy, that you get?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we do this right now? I'll walk you through it right now.
Oh my God. Yeah. Cause I was going to ask if we could do that because honestly, before yesterday, whenever people are like, and I've read many books, I saw another speaker years ago, eons ago about storytelling. And I thought she was amazing, and I was like, this is awesome, but I couldn't figure out how my story is related to my work.
Right.
You made it so simple. It was like, boom, and I have a whole like list now of silly ass stories that I can use.
I love that.
So let's do this. Let's do
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna put you on the spot because this is how simple it really is, right?
Which one of us are you putting on the spot?
You, Wendy.
Ah, damn it. I was
And the
afraid you were
reason
gonna
why
say
is because
that.
I want you to see this in real time, how this works, how it's so easy. So you don't have to tie anything together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to go back and don't think about business at all. I just want you
Yeah.
to think about your life, right? If I was to ask you, and we'll go from like a when moment, when did everything change, right? And you might have several of those. You know, it's kind of an anchor in your life where certain things have happened, right? There's a before and after, and you say this in conversation like, oh well, that was before my divorce, or that was after my surgery, that was before my kids graduated from college, right? They're just these little anchors in time. Can you think of one?
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't make any sense. But what came up, something did come up.
Okay, good. All right. So obviously, Stephanie. So Wendy, tell us, and so your audience knows, like, what do you do for your business? Explain your business
Oh,
to us.
yeah. So if you know women who are overwhelmed with work, kids, might have aging parents, and
Mhm.
as a result of all that, they're not taking time for themselves. Through my coaching, I help those overwhelmed women to create more time and space so that they can prioritize themselves while they're also taking care of others.
Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Will you tell us the story, but take us to the moment when everything did change, right? Be
I,
specific.
I don't know if everything changed, but for whatever reason, this story has come up.
That's okay. It's meant to. So yeah, go with it.
Right? It's meant to. So my mom and I was little. I was probably 5, 6, something like this.
Okay.
We were in town and we were walking downtown New Carlisle. And there's this library. It's a Carnegie library, if you know what those are, right? Huge, like lots of steps leading up. And at this point in time, when I was little, I was watching Wonder Woman, like Linda Carter on television. Right?
Yes.
You know Wonder Woman. And so I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was Wonder Woman. So brilliant me climbed up on the steps. I think maybe I was like 2 high, 4 high on the steps. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided I was going to jump. And I did. And I didn't stick the landing. And I'm sure my mom was like, don't do that. Don't do that. And I didn't listen because I'm Wonder Woman. And I landed, I think I must have landed somehow like this because I got 2 black eyes.
Oh no.
Totally did. Yeah, I'm sure. And my mom, she's one of those moms of Gen X, like, walk it off,
You'll be all right.
rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine. She gave me no sympathy, as you know what, she should not have, because I'm sure she said, don't do that. And I did it anyway. And I wanted to go home. Well, we can't go home because we got this appointment. We got to do da, 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 da. So that's the end of that story that I remember. But
Okay.
there you have it.
So
Steph
I got
is
a lot.
laughing.
I got a lot out of that from you when you're telling that story with what you do.
Okay.
So here's what I get out of it. Your 4 or 5-year-old self is your current clients, right? They think they're Wonder Woman. They think they can take big leaps even when they're being told not to, right? They have this
Yeah.
kind of inflated, like, I can do everything. I've got this, right? They do feel like
yeah.
Wonder Woman. And then they take the leap, right? They take the jump and they end up with 2 black eyes, essentially, right? They're like, oh crap, I probably shouldn't have done that, right? And what do they have
Right.
around them? They don't have support. They have people telling them, get up and just rub dirt on it. Like, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
How about
I
you,
told
Stephanie?
you she was brilliant. Yeah, I
Wow.
was yeah, I was getting that vibe of the Wonder Woman is the client. At the same time, mom is also kind of relates to her clients too. Her mom
Yeah.
like is sitting there going,
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you not to do it. And you still did it. Well, we still have this, and this to do.
Yeah,
And so shake it off. We're going.
Shake it off.
Know?
Walk it off. You're fine.
Walk it off, kid. You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Wendy, that was brilliant, and I didn't see it,
Yeah.
but you pulled it out. So here's my follow-up question. How can I see that within my stories? How can I see what you saw?
It takes some practice, right?
Yeah.
And it's just trying to find, like, think of it, finding the metaphors in your story. Like, okay, what does this mean? Put yourself, especially if it's your younger self or another person in your story, think of them as your client or what they're struggling with, and see if you can find metaphors in that. Otherwise, you have a great resource right here as Stephanie, right? You guys could tell stories back and forth and listen for it. Right. And it just takes practice to find. And then you can use this in talks, right? You can start a talk with this funny story, right? I got two black eyes, and be like, now, have you ever felt like you thought you were Wonder Woman and ended up with two black eyes, right? So it's a funny story. People relate. You can make a social media post. You could do a reel, a TikTok, and just tell them in the story. And now it organically takes them to what you do, right? They're hooked. It gives them a hook. They listen. And now here's what I do, right? I come in and, you know, I have my magic lasso like Wonder Woman, and I get to save you.
Invisible plane. I want one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Who
So
doesn't?
if you like, I don't know if you like ChatGPT AI, you could plug your story into ChatGPT and say, now, here's what I do. Make the connection for me so I can use this as a story or a reel or in a talk. And it'll make that connection for you, because we had a chipmunk get in our house one time, and it was just the funniest story, and it was nothing to do with speaking or anything. I'm like, I'm gonna connect the dots. I'm like, I couldn't see it myself, so I put it into ChatGPT. I'm like, here's what happened. It was complete chaos. Like, our animals are chasing this poor chipmunk in our living room through our kitchen. I'm on the couch screeching because I'm not good in emergencies.
Right.
And my husband's got big work gloves on, chasing this poor little thing, trying to get it out alive. He got out alive. He was safe. So I just put in ChatGPT, like, here's this wild story. How does this tie into speaking and my clients? And it came back with this beautiful, well, people who are trying to get speaking gigs feel like they're running around, running into walls, feeling like they're being chased by bills, and they can't, and they need to just get into the right door to get safe and get gigs. And it just tied it together for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, and think about, and I want, now as we're saying this, I want you to think about the wealth of stories you actually have. You know, if you just were to take a timeline of your life and just think of those little moments, funny little stories, your kids, you, your parents, your friends, anything. It's an endless source of stories that you can tie to your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy moly. So, Steph, I got more questions. Why don't you go?
Well, why don't you ask your questions first, because they might still be relating, whereas I was going to take her somewhere else. So, like,
oh, okay.
Go.
Well, what do you do, Wendy, if you have someone that, have you ever had anyone that's like, I don't have any stories? I really.
I hear that a lot. Yeah. It's not true. They have stories.
Right.
They just don't know how to essentially mine for them. Right. I will be like, okay, was your childhood perfect? Oh, gosh, no. Okay. You have stories. Are you married? Did you ever date? Right. I mean, so you just have to go to these places in time and just take them to their childhood, their teens, their 20s, whatever, go through the decades. Like, you have stories. You know, tell me something funny that happened to you when you were a teenager in school. We all have something embarrassing or whatever. So it's just about the right prompts. But yeah, everyone has stories. They may not think they do, but they do.
Well, so what I'm hearing is you're using your coaching skills to dig into, like, unpeel that onion for them to go, oh, yes, I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like I'm mining. I always picture myself like with the pickaxe thing. Like, I'm mining for stories, you know?
Yeah. That's so fun.
Mining for, that's a story right there in itself.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Steph.
So
I'm done with the questions for now.
I wanted to ask you more about the when
When stories.
When stories, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought there was another word in there, but I was
Yeah,
okay.
no.
So when stories, tell us about that.
Yeah. So that kind of came around because, as entrepreneurs, people always ask us, what's your why?
Yep.
We all have that. It's your purpose. But I found like when I was working with clients, as I was trying to dig for those stories, it was always the when. When did everything change? Because that was a perfect pinpoint for people. So that's how the when question came up. And I was working with some clients and they're like, I've done a TEDx myself and they're like, I need to get a TEDx. I'm like, okay, well, do you have an idea worth sharing? Well, I don't know what that is. I'm like, okay, well, why do you want to do a TEDx then? If you don't have the big idea that you want to share, and it was all about, the credibility, the expertise. People see you differently. It's just perception, right?
Yep.
And I explained to them, look, I mean, like I've done a TEDx. Did it make me a better speaker? No. Right. And actually that TEDx has nothing to do with what I do for a living. It has nothing to do with speaking, coaching, any of it. I spoke on a topic of a group that I created back in 2019 called the Kindness Bucket Brigade. So that was my TEDx, right? So it doesn't tie to my business. So it's not promotional at all. Just I have the title, TEDx speaker. People are like wowed by that. And so I said, well, okay, you're looking for the prestige. I get it. There's definitely perception around that. But I said, you have such an incredible story. Like I've worked with NFL players. I work with a woman who was a 1972 Miss America pageant contestant. And she's just phenomenal. And boy, does she have stories.
I bet.
And I just got thinking, like, man, I wish there was like a TEDx story just for storytelling. And I'm honestly, I'm sure it's out there. I just haven't really found it, or I didn't at the time.
Right.
Yep.
And I love putting on events, and I like to be dramatic. Like if you ever come to, well, look at the disco balls, duh, right? It's kind of obvious. Like I like to go big. So I'm like, I could just do this. Why can't I just create
Yeah.
a TEDx stage basically for stories? And I was working with a marketing coach at the time who had really helped me. She helped me launch my coaching business where I was like 3 timesing my income by coaching people how to get paid to speak. It was great. And so I brought this idea to her and she's like, I don't see it. She's like, Wendy, you're going to split your audience. People know you as the paid stage speaking coach. If you do this, it's just complicated and people don't buy when they're confused. But I have a brain where if I don't get an idea out of my system, like it's going to keep bugging me. Right. So I sat on this idea for almost a year. How can I make this work for my clients? Which it was for my clients, but I'm like, how can it really connect? Right? I was trying to connect the dots. And so I just kept asking questions. What assets do you want in your business? Like, what would I want? When I first started speaking, what actually got me seen? Right? I built my business with no social media, nothing. But when I got the TEDx, right, that was big. When I wrote my first book, credibility. Podcasts just like this, right? When people can see that you've been on multiple podcasts, it's a great asset for speaking, and it's solid visibility. I see people offering like what I would call like a quick fizzle visibility. It's like a photo with a celebrity. Well, nobody remembers that in 2 weeks, right? When you have a video, when you have a book, those are tangible things. A podcast episode's always there. And so I'm like, I'm gonna combine all these things. I'm going to take their talk. I'm going to coach them for 6 weeks to create this beautiful 20-minute story of, and exactly what we do is we take that when moment, we tie it to what they do. Right. So it becomes promotional. It's not a promotional talk, but it is promotional because it showcases who you are and what you do. And I said, most speakers aren't authors. They don't know how to write a book or even a chapter. I'm like, okay, we're going to transcribe the talk and put it in a book. So you don't have to write a single word if you don't want to. You can. Some people prefer to write their chapter. Totally fine. And then we do a podcast interview and add their one story. And
awesome.
Yeah, I didn't tell my marketing coach until a week before I launched it because I was afraid she was going to tell me no again. So when she's like, all right, Wendy, because it's my own event, she's like, what's your offer? She thought it was going to be like a coaching package. I'm like, that When Stories thing I had? She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to launch it. We're doing this in a week. So she's like, okay, let's do it. And we filled the first cohort at my event.
Yeah.
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 That's amazing.
And it's so funny because so when I first heard about it, I think I heard you talking about it. So I heard When Stories, and I never even actually looked at the spelling. I just assumed it was WEN as in Wendy.
Oh, right.
That's fine. I've had that because it didn't even dawn on me about that. It'd be like, when is Wendy? You know, because I know it's a moment in time when, and people have said that. I'm like, oh my God, people must think I'm so like full of myself to name this after me.
No, like I was thinking like
That would be
Wendy and
perfect.
stories and all of it.
Yes.
But I
Right.
do like the Wen stories as in WHEN.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring it so full circle to really help people along. I know a couple people who have been and like they just said it was amazing. Like one person was like, so I'm going to this to support Wendy. I don't really know what I'm getting into, but you know, and they like then they were like, this is amazing, you know? So
It's funny because I have no credentials for therapy, but the talk development becomes therapeutic for most
Yeah.
people that go through it.
Right.
And it's become a women only stage too. So
Yeah.
the first cohort, we had 3 really great gentlemen in it, told their stories, but then I'm like, I need to shift. I really want to showcase women's stories.
Yep.
And so what I found was the community that it builds, which was like a really wonderful, surprising side effect,
Yeah.
is that you go in really not knowing anybody most times and you leave like best friends. Like they've got each other's back. If they have their own book launch or something else, like everybody's like running to cheer them on. So
That's
I love
awesome.
that's, and each time it's been true. I love
Yeah.
watching that.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So speaking of women, can you oh shoot. Sorry, my thing just
Oh
crapped
no.
out. Can you tell us about midlife women and how their personal stories like create an impact and give opportunities as a result of that?
Yeah. So midlife women, especially, I found true is we truly have a lot of experience in a lot of things, but we also have a lot to learn. Right. And so
right.
I feel like, yeah. And I feel like it was taboo to talk about a lot of subjects for a long time, menopause and perimenopause and all of those things, right? Health, wellness, autism, ADHD, you name it. You named a subject for women, right? That we're not supposed to talk about. So in 2016, I found out I was BRCA2 positive, and I made the decision to have a prophylactic mastectomy. It was women in a group, midlife women mainly, who had gone through the same type of things. I learned about the type of surgery I had wanted. I didn't know it was out there until I talked to a bunch of women and was in this group, right? So the value they gave me, instead of just going through what some people get like implants, I didn't have that. I had a different surgery called deep flap reconstruction. So I never have to have another surgery. But I would have never known that information because even my surgeon right away is like, oh, we could do this type of implant. We can do this. I'm like, that's not what I want. And so he's like, oh, someone's done their homework. I'm like, yeah, because I've talked to other women who have had this done. And so like, you know, just that I had that capability, the value they brought me and how I was able to advocate for myself and just in my medical, it was huge. Learning which incision sites got infected more often, which they'll tell you, oh, you're prone to infection, but they don't give you more details. The women in the group that I talked to
Right.
told me what to expect when you look in the mirror afterwards. Even if you think you know what you're going to expect, it's going to be shocking. And they really helped me brace for that.
Yeah.
You know, so their personal stories, man, it literally changed my life.
Yeah.
That's invaluable, right? The information, the heads up
Yeah.
that we give to each other, like, oh, hey, by the way, I want to support you in this, just so you know.
Yeah.
So helpful. It's
Yeah.
that sisterhood.
It truly is. And I think our generations, I think we're kind of similar in age. I don't know,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
I think we all are. Our moms didn't talk about that stuff. Mine didn't. I remember her going through menopause and she just talked about how miserable she was. But like she didn't know what to do about it. Nobody really talked to her. And now I feel like our generation's like, oh, heck no, I am not suffering with these hot flashes because I was like every 15 minutes, I was ready to pull my own hair out. I just was like almost in tears. I thought I was going to throw up from so many because they were coming on really hard. Mine was a surgical menopause. And just having women I can lean into say, okay, well, have you tried this?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, so I had valuable resources in women who were like me or who were older than me even saying, you know, try this.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think it's interesting because it kind of parallels to what we do here. Like this is the whole point of this podcast is to help create a space where people can share their stories, share
Yep.
what they do that can help those overwhelmed, women find more joy, find the tools that are going to help them
Right.
and be able to thrive and shine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's a beautiful
100%.
thing because, my brother, he was an alcoholic. He had to go through, not therapy. It was an inpatient program,
Rehab.
like rehab. And my youngest daughter was going to be a psychology. She was in our psychology major with a minor in alcohol and drug abuse. And he said to me, he says, Wendy, he's like, I could never, even if Caitlin wasn't related to me, I couldn't go to her because my daughter had never drank. Right. And so he said, I need a counselor who has been there. Right. And I think so what you guys do on the podcast and what you do in your businesses, it's exactly that, because you're helping women. You've been stressed out and overworked and at your ends with, you know what it's like. So, to take advice from somebody who's never felt stressed out and maybe everything's gone swimmingly for them most of their life, right? Who's
Right.
taking if I'm so overwhelmed that I can barely breathe, I'm going to go to the person who gets it.
Yep.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe I don't know. It would be hard to take advice from somebody who doesn't know what that feels like. Where, like the
Yes.
world is crushing down on you and you just try every week to get your bills paid and not go underwater and your mortgage and everything else, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's why it's important what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
get
That's why
that.
it's important to tell our stories
Yeah.
together and separate, right?
Yeah.
From our own experiences and what we've experienced together on this.
Yeah.
It's how we relate to one another. And how many
Yeah.
times have you met somebody new, especially through, similar communities where you're just like, oh my gosh, me too. Like, oh, I had that
Yes.
happen too. Right. And then you
Yes.
share your story and it's this back and forth of, oh,
Right.
wow, like we have so much in common because you're sharing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think also, even having the knowledge of how to share a story is kind of helpful because there are so many people that when they get on a connect call with somebody, they just kind of don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And, having silly little things that you can bounce out and just kind of share is really kind of, and it's kind of helpful to have in your back pocket that knowledge.
Yeah. And having kind of good prompts for questions. So if you run into somebody like that, right? Instead of asking, how are you? And I've got this from, what's her first name? Crap. Something Van Edwards. She's a body language expert. She's got an amazing TEDx out there. I want to say it's not Melissa Van Edwards. I can't think of it. I'll give you her name after this, but she talks about having better questions, especially when you're networking. Not instead of
Right.
hi, how are you doing? Like,
Yes.
Yep.
tell me something exciting you're working on.
Yes.
Much better question than how you doing, right? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. What's the weather like there? Oh, it's hot and sunny here. It's raining here, right? What's something exciting you're working on? Because then that prompts, oh, well, I've got this new project, right? Or I'm doing this or whatever. So just asking, better questions when you see someone's kind of struggling, like they don't know what to say, finding kind of those fun little icebreakers that are, not as like off base, but like it's just a better prompt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I asked the off-base questions. I will lead in with, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you so far today?
Yes.
Sometimes I get, well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. Love that.
Real fast. Are we going to bond or is this person never talking to me again?
And that's it. 9 times out of 10, we bond fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and even look at like when we got on the call today, right? Music right away. Stephanie was talking about that and we just automatically, all three of us were like, oh yeah, I knew that one. And it's just better conversation.
It is.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
Yep.
More fun, better conversation.
Right.
Wow. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Anything else, Steph, that we need to cover?
No, I don't think so. Wendy, is there anything you want to share with the audience? Like, is there something going on that they should know about or?
Let's see. Well, our next When Stories event is actually next weekend, June 28th. It does stream live on our When Stories YouTube channel.
Cool.
Once the event's over, though, we take it down because then each speaker has their own premiere once the the production team is, edits everything down or not down. They just edit it so it looks really great with the different angles. So that's coming up. That's something to look forward to. And we are enrolling for the September and December cohorts for When Stories. So we've got some
Nice.
opportunities for people to get on the stage.
Excellent.
ma'am.
That's so cool. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. And thank you so much for being our guest today. This was so cool. And thanks for sharing with Wendy how to tell her story.
Yeah. I want to see that on
amazing.
social media. I want to see you use that.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
It's a deal.
Do
It's
it.
a
I love
deal.
it. Tag me. I would love to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, girl. So thank you to Wendy Babcock for joining us today and helping others shine like your disco balls in the background.
Yes.
Love it. Well, thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Yes. See you next time, everybody.